Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning to people in America. And good evening to the people in Hong Kong, Singapore. Thanks, Anubhav. Another good quarter, least that I can say. Historical in terms of the achievement and the milestone that we have achieved. 200 crores on the gaming side is a fabulous number to be reporting, and we are very happy to once again say that this is our best quarter, and this only reinforces our belief in the business, and we continue to believe that the growth story that we have always been saying that is intact and will remain intact for a few years to come, if not more, is getting reiterated by the fact that we have been growing quarter on quarter and year on year. Having said that, this growth being backed up by both visitations as well as the growth in GGR is something which is heartening. And therefore, it only goes on to show that the potential for the business going forward is very, very robust. And this gives us a great comfort and great satisfaction that we have been doing the right thing. So I would also be congratulating and thanking my team on the marketing and the business and the operations sides, who have done a wonderful job, both promoting the business and promoting this as a destination for, family entertainment. And as far as the gaming operations are concerned, they've been doing a wonderful job in making it run smoothly and seamlessly. With regards to the online piece, while, one may, on the face of the P&L, it appears as if there has been a drop in the revenue on the online, but I would like to clarify that if you recollect the last quarter call, I had said that there is a one-time kind of revenue of about approximately 5 crores, which is on account of the Poker Sports League that happens once a year. And the revenue gets booked in the first quarter because it is the month of May where the Poker League is conducted. And therefore, one has to, for stability's sake, ignore that one-time revenue. And if you then compare the revenue, we are more or less similar in terms of the revenue. In fact, we've slightly grown as against 34 odd crores. We are at 35.5 crores or so on the online piece. With regards to the EBITDA margins, yes, there is a considerable drop in the EBITDA margins from where we started off last year. But I think that was a conscious call and a conscious decision we as Delta management had taken, considering multiple facts that you had much more number of players now in the online space, and some large global names like PokerStars have also entered. So, as they say, to remain on the top and to remain where we are, you have to run doubly faster. And keeping that process and that philosophy in mind is where we had upped our ante as far as the spending on the rakebacks and the bonuses and the marketing spends were concerned, which has obviously resulted into the shrinking of margin, but not only have we been able to maintain and sustain our leadership position, but we are very hopeful and we are sure that this will result into growth in the coming quarters and the coming years. Like every other online business, this is no different, and ultimately the value creation will happen through the large number of traffic and the large number of visitations that we are going to get as a result of our continued and sustained marketing and sales promotion activity. Predominantly, I would like to speak about Rummy and Fantasy, the fact being that this is the quarter where maximum number of activity has taken place, especially in the field of fantasy sports, given the fact that we only launched in April. And I'm happy to say that, our traction is building up slowly but surely. And the deposits which were at 25-30 lakhs a month we are hoping that number will starting this month be in the range of 50 lakhs to 75 lakhs, and we'll keep on growing that number. Therefore, I could say that, the efforts that are being put in by the operations team of adding on to the sports activities that are being conducted. So we we started off with cricket, we've added football, and now Kabaddi is going to be added. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, we have gone live on Kabaddi today itself. And therefore, I think the platform is now getting built and getting more and more robust. Same thing goes for Rummy. We had said that we would be spending a lot of back-end time till about September, October, and then we would be ready to go full hog as far as the Rummy platform is concerned. And therefore, you have seen the precursor of the marketing and sales promotion activity during this quarter, gearing up for the mega breakout, as we call it. And we are hopeful that both the verticals of Rummy as well as Fantasy are going to continue to develop themselves and continue to build on. And as I said, we all know for a fact that Fantasy, you have the leader Dream 11, where they have been able to create the value. Obviously, the value has got created over a period of time and after having spent a lot of time, effort, and money and resources on building that platform. And we are taking lessons and we are taking cue of not doing similar mistakes or not doing mistakes that would have happened during their journey. However, it's a learning process, and we'll continue to invest and we'll continue to grow both the verticals. So on the whole, I think online, as far as we are concerned, is on track, and will continue to, we as Delta will continue to invest and grow that line of activity. As regards hospitality is concerned, obviously has always been a complementary segment as far as Delta is concerned. The quarter of July to September typically is a weak quarter from a hospitality perspective, especially for our Daman property, where the traffic and the traction during this period is the least. To add to that, we have had some repairs and maintenance work going on to our swimming pool, which has resulted into non-fructification of a few bookings, which has obviously led to a weaker quarter compared to our own estimates of the revenue. However, we believe that the swimming pool and other repair works would be completed by the end of this month. So we should be able to recover a bit in the busy quarter of November onwards. And we are fairly hopeful that, the next quarter and the quarters after that, we should be able to come back to the break-even at the operating level sorts and start making money at operations like we did in the first quarter of this year. With regards to the casino policy, I know there are a lot of people who would have had that question in their mind. Let me address it upfront by saying that, yes, we were expecting it to happen by end of August. It didn't happen. But as we all know that the Chief Minister has, post the announcement that he made on the 3rd of August in the Assembly, which was the last day of the Assembly session then, hasn't been in the state for more than 24 hours. And as we will all know that currently he is really unwell, and we are all praying for his recovery and good health, but it's not certain as to what's going to be happening. And therefore, we have nothing more to add there, but we are all waiting for things to stabilize on the political front in Goa. And once those stability has been achieved, we are very sure that we should have the policy formally being adopted and announced, which in our mind is only a formality, but there are a lot of things that will not be able to be kick-started unless the formal announcement is made, and which is where we believe that we will have to wait for the stability and normalcy to return to the political scenario in Goa. And once that's done, we will have the announcements on the policy front, and we can, as far as we are concerned, I had mentioned earlier also, we are completely ready. We have not slowed down our pace. Our entire schematic drawings and layouts and other things are completely ready. And from our perspective, the day the policy is announced, we should be able to put in our application to start work and stuff like that, subject to approvals from the competent authority. So this is on the policy front. I think I have kind of touched upon the broad areas, and I would now leave the platform open for the question answers to be able to address the concerns and issues, if any, on the numbers in particular, and in overall any other matters if there are.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may please press star, then 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star, then 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star, then 1. The first question is from the line of Mukund Agarwal from Sanjay Agarwal Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Agarwal, your line is unmuted. Please go ahead with the question.
Hello, sir. How are you? What's the update on the license of Daman Casino? Hello.
Is that the question?
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, so Daman Casino, obviously, we are still pursuing it, and we are waiting. The moment we have something which needs to be, acted upon, we will act upon it. As I said, we have been in constant touch with the government. We haven't formally been responded to any of the letters or communication that we have had so far. But having said that, we are very hopeful that sooner rather than later the license will be issued, because we are basing this on the fact that we have a letter of in principle approval issued by the administration of the Union Territory of Daman, and basis which we have gone ahead and invested and constructed the hotel.
Okay.
There is no further update from what we have spoken maybe last time.
Okay, and sir, there's one more question. Can you again clarify on the progress of your resort plan?
In the sense, as I said, we have our schematic diagrams and the layouts and everything completely planned and ready. Our contractors are also appointed, the EPC contract guys. That's going to be Larsen & Toubro in all probabilities. And as and when the formal announcement of the policy happens, we would be ready to put in our application for the permissions and start work.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shaleen Kumar from UBS Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, and congrats on the good set of numbers. Very good. So, are these one base, more of a topical question, like considering we are seeing a very good visitation growth, do you see that there could be a possibility of our occupancy reaching the limit over here?
So, if I was to first of all, let me give you some basic facts on what the numbers look like. So if you look at Q2, the current quarter, we have had about 100,000 visitations across all our properties, as against 81,000 visitations same quarter last year, which means that we have grown at about 22%. Now, when you translate that into a per-day visitation, it is still only 1,100 people a day, which is roughly about 55% of our total capacity that is available. I'm only talking of Goa. Okay. So I think from that perspective, we have enough and much space left in terms of reaching a saturation. Yes, the odd weekend and the odd long weekend and the busy festive season is always going to be a challenge. And where we have days or weekends where we definitely are 100% and more occupied. Having said that, we have said in the past, and I would like to reiterate and repeat myself, that, there are processes of filtration of crowd that can be put into play, and which we have been doing from time to time to ensure that on days like that, the real gamers or the people with more inclination towards gaming are allowed on board, and the riffraff and the regular walk-ins do not, hamper the business in that sense of the term. So I think on a bare fact of capacity, I think we are still a long way to go, according to me. And there are processes of filtration. And in all this, when we say 1,100 people a day or 100,000 people in a quarter, we are merely talking about the traffic that builds up between 9 in the night to 4 in the morning. Or it would be more rather 10:30 in the night to 4 in the morning. So the entire daytime gaming and the weekday gaming is still not entirely utilized to its full optimal capacity. And it's nowhere near any optimal utilization. So I think on an overall basis, I think capacity is not a constraint, but on a given weekend and on certain festive long weekends, we have challenges, but we have ways to overcome those challenges, and I think we have been successfully doing that.
Fine. Good. And so, can you give some color on your gross gaming revenue, like, how it's been doing and where do you see the kind of growth you can...
So we have always said, Shaleen, that in a growth scenario like we have been witnessing for the past few years, and we believe that this will continue for the next few years as well, unless both the GGR as well as the visitations both grow in tandem, you can't experience exponential growth. Like I gave you the numbers and the data on the visitations, we have witnessed a 20-odd% growth rates in our GGRs as well. So if you look at the average GGR across all our properties in Q2 of 2018, it was at about 14,000 rupees a head, which is now in the Q2 of 19 is at about 17,000 rupees a head. That only goes to show that the process of filtration or on the weekends or the busy days, coupled with our loyalty programs doing well and we trying to get more and more of those with a larger inclination to game rather than just coming as tourists and having, eating food and having a couple of drinks and going, that mix is changing. That is obviously resulting into better spends with the fact that we have grown about 22% in visitations as well.
Right, sir. I have, sir, 1-2 bookkeeping questions, if you can allow, from the balance sheet.
I'll try my best to answer those, Shaleen.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So inventories have gone up from March to September, some odd 70 crore to 95 crores.
Yeah.
Any particular reason behind that?
So there was a parcel of land in the heart of Goa which we have been owning for quite some time. We had entered into some sort of an arrangement with a developer to develop that property. And there was a right title of approximately 25 odd crores which was in favor of the developer. However, the developer, like most real estate players, underwent stressful times, and that agreement and arrangement has been since rescinded. And therefore, that right title interest, which was worth 25 crores, has gotten back into the value of the land, which is a 100% subsidiary of Delta. And that's where the inventory has gone up, because in that subsidiary it was not a fixed asset or not an investment. It was an inventory because it's work in progress as far as that subsidiary is concerned, and as a part of that it reflects into the consolidation. But if you see, it's a netting off effect in the P&L, because you see an increase of 25-26 crores on one hand and then a decrease immediately. So net impact on the P&L is zero.
Okay. But then it's a kind of gain for the company, is it? Like 25 crores?
There is no gain. It's just that my value of the land has gone up by 25 crores in the books. That's it.
Yeah, okay. In the books, it has gone up by 25 crores. Okay. And just one more thing, like your other current asset has also gone up. So if you can throw some light, is it some transfer of the internally transfer of assets?
I will have to get back on the details of the other current assets, please.
No problem, sir. Fine. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sameer Shah from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Congratulations on the good set of numbers. This traffic increase that you are seeing, if you can give some color on the competitive scenario, how many casinos have now in the new license regime are continuing, and whether, any offshore casinos have shut down, or it's only...
No offshore casino has shut down. All the offshore casinos are in operations like they were before. Like I've mentioned in my earlier calls, it is only the land-based casinos which have either shut down or shrunk in their size. And obviously a rub-off effect of that does happen on the offshore casinos, because when a person wants to game, the options are now limited, and if somebody is a gamer who was going to a 25,000 square foot casino, doesn't like to obviously game in a 1,000 square foot casino situation.
Right. So any changes in our, either entry fee or, package to customers?
No, we haven't actually done any major tinkering. We only do the changes, as I said, when we need to filter it on the weekends, and we want to control the quality and the quantity of the crowd that needs to get in.
Okay. And second question is on the online side, and in the new competitive scenario that we are seeing, how is now the growth trajectory, looking like? Because
as I said, because the competition has increased, people are more aware. There are multiple options and choices that they have. To be at the same place, one has to run faster, as they say. So the market potential is there. The growth is definitely going to come. But I think it's going to be difficult. It's a little bit more, work that will have to be put in to be able to achieve that growth, which earlier was coming much more easier. But we are very confident and we are very hopeful that the scenario and the online space is going to only grow from wherever it is. So I think growth trajectory will continue. So if you see year on year also from online perspective, there is a 35-40% growth that we are seeing, and I don't see things changing anytime sooner on that front.
Our investments, for achieving that growth will go up, but this 30% kind of a growth rate, we will be able to maintain.
That's what we strongly believe, and that is why we are investing.
Right. All right. I'll come back if I have more questions. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sudhir Jain from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
You spoke about the growth in online business.
I can't hear you. You need to please pick up the phone.
You spoke about the investment, the growth in the online gaming business, but it is coming at...
One second, Mr. Jain, one second. Hello?
Yeah. So it is coming
please
at
go ahead.
a cost of capital employed, which is increased from about 90-100 crores to about 260 crores in this quarter.
No, I don't think that's the way to look at it, because that capital employed is not a function of our investments in the business or the operations. The capital employed is basically, I don't know whether how closely have you followed the movement, but there was an 82 crore of preference redemption that we did for the erstwhile promoters of Adda, and there have been issuance of shares against their convertible paper that they were holding as a part of the merger. So nearly about 180 crores has gone on account of that. So it's not that we have invested into the operations of the company that much. The capital employed is a function of money that is allotted and capital that is allotted to a particular business, and this entire 170 crores obviously is predominantly and only for the online space, because that was a part of the merger arrangement, and the payout has happened only in the month of August, and therefore it is getting reflected in the second quarter.
Sure. And in terms of margins, they have come off in this segment. So for some time, till the time competitive intensity is there, margins would be under pressure. Is that the understanding?
I don't think the margins are under pressure because of the competitive intensity. It is because of our spend. And as I said, the spend is necessary for two reasons. One, obviously, to continue to grow at the 30-40% year-on-year growth that we are doing, and also to keep the competition at bay. And yes, I believe that the margins will be in the range of 10-12% or 12-13% on a stabilized basis for a decent period of time. They won't be anywhere near the high 20s and the high 30s that this business was used to prior to the merger and acquisition by Delta.
Hi, this is Bhaskar here. So one question from my side.
Excuse me, this is the operator. Sir, may we request you to come closer to the phone, please? Your voice is echoing.
Preferably, if you could lift up the receiver, that would be ideal, please.
One question from my side in terms of the competitive intensity, like you mentioned, focus stars have come. But as I understand, there are also a lot of small and mid-sized poker online gaming sites that have a lot of startups have come. So
right.
what would be your reaction to that in terms of, do you think that they would be able to survive, and how will it all play out?
Well, ultimately, it is a survival of the fittest in any form of life, whether it is human life or corporate life or anything. So obviously, whoever has got the deep pockets, whoever is able to sustain the kind of challenges and competitive scenario is only going to survive. Only thing that I can say which is going to be very good is that more the number of such sites, more the number of awareness, larger amount of people getting hooked on to this. And once one of these sites shuts shop or goes belly up or whatever you may call, they are going to find alternative means to satisfy their desire and urge to play. And obviously, like we have the advantage, as I said, when the onshore casinos shrunk their sizes and were shut down, we did have a spillover effect onto the offline space. So similarly, in this case, when a site shuts down, there has to be a spillover effect because the user on that site will definitely want to go on to somewhere else and start gaming.
Right.
Sure, thanks.
And in case Shalin is still on the call, to answer your question on the other current assets, the bulk of the other current assets which have increased is on account of the prepaid license fees that we have. That's the major portion of it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepan Mehta from Elixir Equity. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on great set of numbers. I just want to understand that in your segmental reporting, we have seen the online skill gaming segment profits reduced from 9.33 crores to 81 lakhs. So what is the main reason for that? Is it the extraordinary marketing expenditure which you have undertaken, or the payouts, or what is the main reason for this thing?
No. First of all, I think, comparing last year's number of online with the current quarter online is not right, because in the last quarter, same period, you had only 3 months data. Because it got consolidated only from end of July onwards. Whereas in this period, you will have the entire 6 months period. And that's where when you look at 9.33, that's only roughly about 35 days or 40 days of expense coming, whereas here it's a full 3 months of expense coming. So you can't, it's not identical and it's not comparable to that extent. Secondly, there were certain accounting adjustments which were required to be done as a part of Ind AS because the erstwhile company, Ghost Networks, did not fall under the Ind AS requirement, and once the things changed to Ind AS, once they merged with Delta, the treatment of bonus and the treatment of marketing expense and sales promotion and other things also were restated and realigned. Having said that, it would be more apt to compare Q1 of this financial year with Q2, and if you see, I think if the numbers are correct, we had a EBITDA of 4.5 crores for Q1, which has gone down to about 1 crore in Q2, and that's predominantly because of the more marketing spend and the sales promotion activity undertaken on the online business per se.
Okay. Second question is, when it comes to the online gaming, typically what is the main differentiating factor or the USP of our online gaming proposal versus what startups are offering or what some of the global players are offering? Is it the experience, is it the technology, or is it the payout, or what exactly?
I don't think any website worldwide, and I'm being very candid and honest, will have a customer loyalty to the fullest. Everyone's going to go to every website and gamble. Everyone's going to go to every website and check it out and test it out. Ultimately, it is what drives a particular website, obviously, is the liquidity and the availability of a table to be gaming at any hour of the day or the night. So these startups, typically what happens is that they will have extraordinary benefits favoring the players, trying to attract them to come onto their platforms and gamble. But beyond the point, they will not be able to provide liquidity. And when I say liquidity, it doesn't mean cash liquidity. It is the liquidity of the availability of gaming tables at any given point of time. So if you go on to Adda website or Adda Poker, you will have multiple tables operational at 5 in the morning, at 5 in the evening, at midnight, at 2 in the morning, at any point of time. So whoever logs on to an adda will definitely have a table to sit on and game. That may not be possible, and that would not be true for the other startups. So I think what is one key driving factor as far as the online platforms are concerned is the liquidity and availability and the ease of able to game at any point of time. So I think that is one big driving factor. And obviously when you are the market leader with about 60-70% of the market share, you are the early mover and the market leader, you will always have that advantage of liquidity over others.
One last question is, in the present policy, is there any way an international player can set up a casino in Goa or elsewhere whenever it is?
The policy cannot determine a foreigner coming in. It is something to do with the foreign direct investment policy of the country. And the state doesn't control the foreign direct investment policy, as you will be aware.
So presently, does the FDI permit?
It's a FDI negative sector, my friend.
Thank you and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Ladda from Perfect Research. Please go ahead.
Stanford, can you just put the call on mute for a second, please?
Oh, sure, sir.
Yeah.
You may go ahead, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Hello, sir. So one of the question is, what is the current capacity of people we can service and utilization level of our offshore casino in Goa, and how much headroom do we see for future growth in terms of footfalls and revenue?
So I think I just touched upon that a couple of minutes ago when Samir asked me a similar question, or someone else asked me that question, that our total installed capacity, if I may use that term since everyone's more familiar with that, is about 2,200 gaming positions across all our properties in Goa. Against that, we are doing about 1,100 people a day, which means we are at about 50-55% capacity if you understand it in that fashion. Having said that, the occupancy levels are obviously more skewed towards the weekends and are lesser towards the weekdays. And therefore, it's only between the period of 10 o'clock in the night to 4 in the morning when the occupancies are at peak. Unlike internationally, when a Monday or a Tuesday or a Thursday or a Friday doesn't matter, and 11 o'clock in the morning vis-a-vis 11 o'clock in the night also doesn't matter. So that kind of saturation or that kind of maturity of the market as far as India is concerned has not yet been reached. And even today, we have a lot of people who call us and ask, are we 24 hours operational? Or when we tell even people who are known to us that, you could go and game in the morning, so they say, oh, we didn't know that it was a 24-hour operation. So I think there is enough and more capacity and enough and more headroom available as far as the mathematical capacity of the vessels are concerned. Having said that, I have also mentioned that ultimately it's a process of filtration and process of picking and choosing what type of customers and how many people that I want. And therefore, we have a dynamic pricing system which we follow on weekends to make sure that the real gamer is not compromised at the cost of a tourist.
So my second question would be, could you share some potential you see for Sikkim Casino, given the Sikkim airport has opened now, and the prospect for Nepal Casino also?
So Nepal is a while away, and we don't want to give any forward-looking statements of that nature, unnecessarily. As regards Sikkim, we have always been saying that, we are currently doing about 1 crore and 10 lakhs a month, and the potential is definitely there to, be doing a revenue of at least 3 to 4 times what we are doing today, if not more. But I don't think one can put an estimate, because the flight connectivity has just started in the as of I think 4th of October was the first flight that took off or landed, whichever way you look at it. And therefore one has to, let the tourist cycle set in properly, let everybody get used to the availability of flights and everything. And I think we'll have to give it some time before we start seeing real traction there.
The next question will be, what's your view for the growth for next?
You're breaking off. I can't hear you.
Could we hear you now? Hello?
Yeah, it's still breaking off.
So what's the management vision for growth for the next 5-10 years? We have both organic and inorganic growth in casino and online gaming.
Why don't you tell me that, my friend? It's as good as your guess. My guess, sky is the limit.
Getting it. No problem. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anubhav Gupta from MK Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Hardik. There are a few questions from a few of the FI investors who couldn't log in due to time zone issue. Okay. So, shall I go ahead?
Please.
Right, okay. The first question is, of course, on capacity utilization. You have already addressed it 2 times. But just to kind of hear from you, what are the efforts which you would put in to promote the gambling in non-peak hours?
Well, there are promotional activities, there are packages that are designed specifically to attract people during the daytime, wherein the entry fee is substantially lower than what we charge during the evenings and the busy hours. So I think whatever best and maximum efforts from our marketing and sales promotion angle we can do to attract and increase awareness are being carried out. But I think it's only over a period of time and a little bit of more awareness is when this is going to be, getting it more traction. And I think we'll have to put in efforts. Like, earlier if somebody would have asked me that 3-4 years ago or maybe 5 years ago, I would never have said that I will have 600, 700, 800 people on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But today, that's a reality, and that's been possible because of the efforts that the business development team, the marketing team, and the operations team on site has put in over, number of years to ultimately reach this stage. So I think those guys are aware of their jobs and duties, and I think they are already geared up and working towards promoting the daytime gaming and non-weekend gaming and non-peak hours gaming. And I'm sure their persistence effort has paid in the past and will pay going forward as well.
Sure. Second question is on Adda acquisition. So, so this is fully completed, right? Is there any outstanding payment to be made?
No, nothing.
All right. And the third question is on online gaming. What will be the total market size of online gaming in India currently, and how do you see your market expanding?
So online gaming comprises of poker, fantasy, and rummy. Each of them has a different market size. Rummy, as I had told earlier, that, amongst the top 3-4 players itself, they are in excess of 1,000-1,200 crores of rake that they earn. Now this is rummy. Fantasy, the largest player, is doing close to about $30-40 million of revenue. And in poker, I think the market would be close to about 250 crores. So if you add all of this, it would be a 1,500-2,000 crore market and growing. But I think there is enough and more room given the fact that all these businesses, there is no capacity constraint as such. There are no other entry barriers. There are no other restrictions. I think the potential is very large.
Right. So out of 1,500 crore today, Adda does around 150 crores.
No, I don't think you should look at it that way. Adda has its own forte, which is poker. Of the 250 crores, 170 crores or 250 crores or 300 crores that the market will be for poker in this current year, Adda will be doing, 160, 170 crores. Rummy, which is a 1,500 crore market, my Rummy portal is nowhere on the scene, will be doing 10 crores, 15 crores of revenue. So I think each of them has to be viewed as a different market and a different business opportunity. So you can't club, because in India, there is nobody other than us who has all the three platforms under the same thing. And the reason for that is that each of them is so focused on that particular activity, and therefore, even for Delta, we have three different teams looking at the three different verticals, and it's not one common team looking at all of them. So there are three businesses, there are three markets, and all of them need to be seen and addressed separately.
Right. And last question is on the maintenance capex, what you see for FY19 on existing assets?
Not substantial. You will have a dry dock of a couple of vessels here and there, but those are not substantial. And so I think 5, 7, 10 crores, give and take.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir, I just want to know in H1 what is the cash flow generated and the applications of the cash flow.
So as of 15th of October, we are sitting on cash of about 417 crores. Of the 417 crores, roughly about 83 odd crores is the spillover of the QIP money. Balance everything is generated through internal accruals over the last 1.5 years of time. And in H1 per se, I don't have the number for H1 per se, but in terms of the payouts, the major payouts that have happened in the first half year obviously are the license fee for the casinos, which would be close to about 50 crores, and the balance would be payable now because two of our licenses were only given for 6 months because they were up for renewal, which have happened. And then obviously the payout for the merger of Adda, which was the 82 crores paid in August. Then we had the dividend payout that happened in September, which was roughly about 32 crores. And a little bit of advance tax that we would have paid in the first half of about 30 odd crores.
So the first item which you said, which is the license fee, that would any case be an OPEX line, right? That would be a part of your P&L, or this is one time other than the OPEX line which you tend to capitalize?
No. So this is, no, it doesn't get capitalized, but it obviously gets amortized over the whole year. So it is not that I pay and everything gets debited in that month or that day itself. And therefore I will have to spread it out over H1. So it remains in the prepaid expenses. That's where I said the other current assets have gone up because there are prepaid items in there for the balance part of the year. And then the others, as I explained.
So you said 50 crores plus for the license fee, 82 crores paid for the acquisition. And,
plus 32 crores of dividend and roughly about 30 crores of advance tax.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. On behalf of Emkay Global Financial Services, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us.